Good evening, everybody. You're welcome once again to our weekly SAKT classes. Now, this is our third class for the year. We've talked about, so we started the year by discussing crop physiology. That is everything that has to do with crops and plants that you see, from the leaf to the stem to the root, and how plant react to the environment. That is what we discussed in our two previous classes. So for you to follow up that classes, you can go to our YouTube channel, you can watch the class, and even the material that we used, it's on our WhatsApp channel platform. I dropped the link to the material on our WhatsApp platform, our WhatsApp channel. So if you want the material, you can easily join our WhatsApp channel. I will drop the link to the WhatsApp channel by the end of the class. So today we are moving to another direction, not another direction per se. We are still going in line with respect to crop production, and we are going into crop production, the meaning, the scope, importance and the roles of crop production in the world, or even in, let's say, local in Nigeria. In as much as a lot of persons say they like livestock farming, they like this, they don't like crop production. Without crop production, there is literally no livestock farming, because what is the livestock going to eat? So I will be inviting Miss Faith. Miss Faith will be the one to handle this particular session. So Miss Faith Adebajo is an agribusiness professional, cultural agric educator and children's author, passionate about using agriculture as a tool for learning, storytelling and community impact. She work across vegetable farming, home and small space gardening, greenhouse production and agricultural education, with a strong focus on sustainability and practical everyday application. She is the founder of Home Garden Circle, a learning community created to help parents, teachers, and caregivers grow food confidently while nurturing environmental aware children. Faith also writes Aladdin's Veggies Tales, an educational children book project that blend culture, food, and storytelling to tell young readers life lessons through gardening and nature. Through our teaching, writing and digital content, Faith simplifies agriculture, preserve cultural values and inspire families to reconnect with food, patience and the land. Ladies and gentlemen, please let us give a thumbs up for our facilitator of today, Miss Faith. Miss Faith Adebanjo, you can take over the class. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. All right. Good evening, everyone. You're welcome to today's class. Thank you, Mr. Ogaga, for this opportunity, and thank you for this platform. This is really amazing work you are doing here. Thank you so much, sir. All right. Today we are going into crop production. So when I was sent this topic, the question that dropped in my mind has never dropped in my mind before until I was given this opportunity to take this class. That why is crop called crop? Because we can actually say plants. Why is it always called crop? So I was just curious, and it's good to know that crop and plants, as much as they are similar, there is a line drawn in between them. That's their differences. Because unlike plants, which are naturally occurring, they are not voluntarily cultivated, right?
Yeah.
So plants, we can call plants like a general name for all kind of crops, okay? But when we are calling like some set of plants, crops. It's now talking about intentionality. So, crop is like, we can call it like a classification of plants. It's just like we have animals. For example, we have different kind of birds. We have the birds that are flying in the sky, and we have birds that we eat. But when humans find chicken, turkey, other sorts of edible birds that they can eat, they found it edible, they decided to domesticate them, right? They decided to go into the production, they decided to start breeding them, they decided to start reproducing them intentionally. So that is when we can call something production. But for other kinds of birds that fly in the sky, and we also call them birds, right? But they are not cultivated, they are not, not cultivated actually, they are not produced or breeded to be consumed. So that's why we now get to the definition where we say crop is the plant, or the plant products, like cultivated, is harvested in large quantities. It might even be in small quantities too, but the major goal is for profits, the major goal is for food, the major goal can be for other economic purposes, but it was specifically managed by humans. So, and that is why this topic is very important for farmers, especially youths that are building a sustainable community. And we are being intentional about every move here. Even for this platform, it's very intentional. I'm telling you, because if we want to build a sustainable community, a sustainable world, we need um knowledge, right? We need impact. We need to know how things are done. We need to know why they are done. There is intentionality. So that is why such a platform as this is coming. And when that word sustainable, it's something that works over time. It's something that, when you say something is sustainable, it's something that you are doing for even future generations to benefit from. So when we are looking at crop production, we are not just looking at, oh, how will I spray the pesticides, oh, how will I prevent the diseases, oh, how will I grow them to give me, big crates, and I want 1 ton, I want this by the end of this target, oh, I want this goal and all and all. No, one of everything, yes, you might have those intentions, beautiful, good, but everything that is done intentionally is that we have a sustainable production. I was doing a course late last year, and I discovered something that blew my mind. We have the way we fertilize our plants, right? We have inorganic, we have organic, or the synthetic, whichever way you understand. We have brilliant farmers here, right? But you understand what I'm saying. So there are different ways you can apply nitrogen to the soil. You can either apply nitrogen to the soil through the organic way, that is, the manure and all. For examples, nitrogen, you can find them in green manure and all that, right? And some nitrogen fixing crops, like beans. Yes, they can fix nitrogen in soil. So you can decide to go that route, and you can decide to go the route of, okay, using the NPK, yeah, the soluble, the what's it called, the hydroponics method, or using granular, whichever one you want to use. But then I was doing that course, and at a point in time I discovered that many people are applying nitrogen in the wrong way, which will not be sustainable for the future. What do I mean by this? People just want their crops to grow well, they want it to do very well, they want it, and they will see the results at that point in time. But as time goes on, these things deteriorate the soil, destroy the soil, and at the end of the day, it is not sustainable. So these are the things that we need to know in crop production. There's a lot to it, you know. I believe this is not going to be there. There's going to be a lot coming from this. And there was a time on this platform that we treated nutrient deficiency. So I know there was a whole lot given to us like that. But what I just wanted to buttress before we continue is doing these things sustainably. Okay, so that's just a preamble into crop production. So next slide, sir. Oh, are we hearing me? Hope I'm not the only one here.
We can hear
Oh,
you. We
we
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
Right, all right. I'm sorry, I should have been calling attention intermittently. All right. So I said here that it's a science and art of cultivating crops, right? And the aim is to maximum yield with quality, economy, and sustainability. Oh my God, I just like to repeat this over and over again, over and over again. Going back to that example I gave the other time, the example was a, should we say, an analogy of a farmer who wants to have a good result, right? And he wants to fertilize the soil, and probably he needs something that is fertile, but was not applied in the right quantities. When applying the nitrogen, the slope of the land was not put into consideration. The season, whether rainy season or dry season, was not put into consideration while applying that. The soil drainage was not put into consideration. The water bodies close by wasn't put into consideration. So at the end of the day, what you are trying to do is causing more harm than good. So as much as we want to have profits, let's also consider sustainability, because at the end of the day, there is going to be a backlash, which we are already seeing, of depleted soils, of polluted water bodies, of poisoned foods, poisoned fishes. A lot of things are happening, and you know the towards the last quarter of 2025, my eyes were really open to these things. So it's not like, these improvements, innovation, they are not good, but are they well applied? Oh, people are saying that what's it called, this hydroponics method of fertilizing plants, passing the nutrients into the tank, then through drip tapes and all and all and all. Is it applied in the way it should? Are these fertilizers used in flood prone areas prone to flooding, which, maybe it was fertilized like some minutes ago, and then the rain falls and it washes them up. It's not even penetrating into the soil. Sustainability, I would want us to keep that in mind, because it's going to be very, very fundamental at this point in time. And looking at year 2020, I mean year 2030, yes, with having year 2020, well, year 2030 in view, we need to take climate, sustainable climate actions, like sustainable climate actions. This should be more than profits, okay? So we have to consider the three P's, right? The people, the profit, and what's the last one? Can anyone help me with that? Is anybody here with me?
Yes, you are
The
here.
planet. Planet is the third
Yeah,
one.
and the planet. Yeah, yeah. I wanted it to be interactive, so I want, yeah. So I can. So we have to consider the people, The planet gives the people, and the people will give back profits. It's a circle. The planet will give profits to the people. It's a circle, an unending circle. The earlier we realize that, the better for us. Application of these pesticides in crop production. How are we doing it? Oh, we want this to work. We want this pest. As we want this pest to work, we want these habaneros to fruit well, without us considering that there are seasons. These are things that we need to put in place. It's not about, na this person sabi pass, oh, he's a very good farmer, this and that, oh, during so time they had the highest harvest, they have. No, we have to consider a lot of things. There are some seasons that comes with, heat waves, that can encourage some pests and discourage some pests. So while you are spraying that pesticide aggressively, like, probably that's what the plant depends on. You have to keep in mind that these seasons comes with their peculiarities. Okay, it comes with their peculiarities, so we have to know how to manage them. Not this whole crop production thing, and every of its characteristics of futures is about management. I am telling you, it's about management. If you go to any successful farmer, they are successful managers. You are not coming to cure nature. This is nature. You cannot erase nature. You cannot erase the way the system works. You cannot erase the ecosystem. You can't. So you have to manage these things. So in our intentionality in crop production, in our intentionality in making profits, please let us always keep sustainability in mind. Next slide, please. All right, so in the scope of crop production, I talked about selection of crops and varieties, the soil, the seed, water, nutrient management, weed, pest and disease management, harvesting, post-harvest, and modern practices. So yes, you are going into crop production, you want to cultivate a particular crop, right? Say beans. What do you know about beans? Okay, what do you know about it? What expertise you have about it? You don't really need to know everything, because even the best of farmers, sometimes, if you, of course, oh god, ask these plants will show you shege, right? Even the best of farmers, they have challenges in crop production, right? But you have to know a handful of information before you go into this, especially if you are going into it for profit, right? These are things that you have to take in place. For example, varieties. When you are choosing your varieties, you have to keep in mind your location. It's a very important factor, that I always love to put first. Your location. You can choose a variety, and you want to grow a variety that works very well, say in Georgia, somewhere around the USA and all, and you want to use that kind of variety in Nigeria, it might not work well as it should. And if you want to grow those kind of varieties, okay, what measures are you putting in place? How are you making the climatic or the microclimate? How are you creating a microclimate for that variety? So you have to know the varieties, and that is why even in my home garden circle community, I do advocate that it's not like hybrid is not good, hybrid varieties is not good, okay? Or no, let me not mention that in here, because I don't even want to I don't want story this evening, so I'm not going to GMO, right? We are not talking about that this evening. But hybrid and all, as much as it is good, I do advocate that some of our local varieties, for someone going into for crop production for profits, okay, for profits, you might want to consider some hybrids. Meanwhile, some local varieties also produce very well. So that's why I said varieties. So when you are making your research about the particular crop you want to grow, for me, um I love what we call somebody taking you by the hand. If you just want to do your research by, oh, let me just check online, let me just read about the varieties, you might not do very well. Well, kudos to those that did their personal research and did well. You understand? Not just online. Okay, if you maybe, for example, did a professional course under a good professional body, yes, of course, that's another way. That's what I mean by somebody holding you by the hand. You need people that have done this before and ask them, and work with them, interact with them. That is when you can really know what you are going into. If you just want to pick a random variety of seeds, you might be surprised all what you are getting. Okay, so I do advocate for local varieties, for especially some of those that are going into home garden and so on, and even for some crop. For example, yam. I don't I don't think anybody will start looking for hybrid yam. But of course, the good varieties and all meet the farmers that have been doing very well in this thing and the yam. We have them. Local varieties. We have, I do envision and I do hope there are Nigerians and people who will pick up our local varieties, because some of them can be resistant. Actually, some of them are very resistant, and they might not really have like very large fruits or large yield. Some of them might have good yields and they might not be resistant, okay, but our local varieties are packed with a lot of good nutrients. They are packed with a lot of rich goodies. Even in the foreign countries, they call some of our food superfood. We have things like fonio, the bambara nut, almond. We have a lot. And I always just wish that people go into our own seed production, taking up our local varieties of seeds and improving them. It will really go a long way. It will really go a long way because we have these things here. Okay, so talking about varieties, you really need to know what you are going into. Then you need to know that you have water available. This is very important. Okay, now we can see, I don't know, maybe it is where I am, but the wind, is very very dry now. It's very dry, it's less humid. So even though you might not really experience a lot of sun, but then the air is dry, which means your plants will need moisture constantly, frequently. It's not only when the sun is hot and shining. If the wind is dry, it can also cause quick evaporation, and your plants will need water frequently. Okay, so if you are someone especially that wants to grow all year round, okay, you have to be intentional about water. How will you water them? You want to go into cucumber cultivation and you don't even have drip tape in place, you don't have drip irrigation in place, rather you don't have how you are going to work, you might probably fail, because cucumber needs frequent watering. Okay, so you need to also look at pest management, right? Pest and disease management. And I also encourage insect pest management. Okay, insect pest management. Can you see, it's just everywhere. Sometimes these words are like riddles that are hidden. Okay, like we have parables in the Bible. Jesus Christ is making like a parable of the sower. And then the disciples will be like, oh, what's this and that. But he's saying what he's saying in parables. You can see that insect pest management, not insect pest cure, because these things can only be managed. Okay, some of these insects and pests, they have their benefits in the ecosystem, even though their benefit looks like destruction. Okay, like those terrible trips. Kai, those things, they are terrible. Trips are mites. Any vegetable farmer, trips are, in fact, if you are not careful, you almost term everything as trips and mites. Okay, that's by the way. But then, as destructive as they might be, they have the role they are playing in the society. Okay, so we also have to look at harvesting, post harvesting, and oh my god, um coming to soilers, um last year was one of the best decisions I made in my life, right? um Before then, I have not, experienced, so much intentional um measures put in place while harvesting. Okay, I worked when I was in my 400 level in futa. I worked with a step B project. We were working on tomatoes, right? This what's this species, I think. Yeah, that was the Roma. We did the Roma variety, and we did another variety, but I cannot remember that name. It was a decent golf project. Okay, that time. Okay, so no, it was beef stick. Yeah, I can remember beef stick. So then when we were doing all those and all, we do harvest though. It's not like we don't harvest them and all. We put them in paper. All this sorting, and you do this, you do that, you do this and that. I never really experienced that. So coming to soilers, seeing all those measures put in place, it really exposed me. And do you know that one of the biggest losses comes from this post-harvest losses? Yes, comes from this post-harvest losses. If these sort things are being done well, even some of the what's it called? The tomatoes that are coming from the north and all those things, it's not like they are all that bad. I mean, if you see some of them when they are being harvested and all, they are looking clean and fresh, but there is nothing called sorting. They will put the bad ones with the clean ones and all. And these fruit flies, they have the way they are rapid and destroy things. So before you know it, bringing it down here, we have spoiled tomatoes, and these things cause a lot of diseases that people are just discovering now. So all these things are the things that we need to be intentional during crop production. Next slide, please. All right. So like I said, using suitable crops and crop varieties. Then there's this point I also want to buttress on, using use of high yielding and resistant varieties. If we use more resistant varieties, there will be less need of using so much pesticides. Okay, so much pesticides, so much pesticides. So while we are looking at what we can use to salvage the situation, why not think of what we can do before the situation arise, what we call preventive measures. Okay, preventive measures. Now some of these organic pesticides and measures, sometimes we feel like it doesn't work, but it does if they are used as a preventive measure. And I think one of the things that I have discovered over my years of farming or in agriculture is that when you don't use some of these pesticides or some of the insect pest management measures as at when due, they will probably not do anything, they will not work. When you are using a fungicide which was designed to be more of preventive, and you are using it as a curative, it won't do anything. Okay, so these are some of the things that we need to, we need to know when we are doing crop production. Okay, so land preparation and soil fertility management, this is very key. This is very, very key. See, like, I would want to advise any farmer listening to me now, before you go into any cultivation and all, please and please just make sure the land is, like, is fit. Because this thing is funny, but that's why we see some set of people at some particular angle, they are doing very well. And some other people, it will be like they do instead of them to be harvesting pepper, they are harvesting vegetable. Maybe there is more of nitrogen in that soil than the potassium that the pepper needs. So you need to know what is good for the crop that you want to do. See, it's better you spend resources in making your soil or getting a suitable land before starting any cultivation than wasting your time, your seeds, your inputs, because it will not give you any, like I said, garbage in, garbage out. And I was talking about that in the beginning of sustainability. We need to preserve our healthy soils. Soilless farming is good, beautiful, awesome. But when we are talking about mass production, okay, it's not like soilless stuff is not giving us, you understand. But we know what we are saying, farmers. You want to plant hectares, like this is commercial farming and all. You need land, experts of land. If you want to use soilless farming option, of course it will work too, but it might be expensive. Okay, so we need to preserve our soils. We really need to preserve our soils. Okay, good soil, good harvest. So please get it right with your soil. If you need to use organic manure, make your soil rich, leave it for weeks, months, do all you need to do to revitalize your soil or rejuvenate your soil before planting. That works. But please don't just hope on planting on a soil that is depleted with the hope of using synthetic fertilizers like nitrogen, NPK, all those other fertilizers. Fertilizers are good, but when you are trying to replace the nutrients that your soil will naturally give your plants with fertilizers, you'll be further destroying the plants, and you'll be producing one of the most poisonous crops humans consume, because the gradual process of the soil releasing nutrients into these plants is a systematic way that God has designed to give these plants. Well, it's just like a baby, right? That a mother is breastfeeding. You cannot compare it to the processed breast milk, the Aptamil. Okay, you cannot compare it. Doctors will always say breast milk is the best, because there are some things that are supposed to come naturally. So that's why, for me, I would even prefer, if you want to rejuvenate your soil, even if it takes years of you giving it a lot of organic manure and all, and making that place fallow for a long time before coming to plant, it is better than you just pouring a lot of fertilizers. Okay, so quality seed selection, treatment and sowing practices, yes, you need to choose, like, pick good seeds. Okay, when you want to plant, you don't plant from infected seeds. You want to plant habanero, you now take the one that has kwashiorkor. Maybe you want to plant F2. No, you take healthy fruits, healthy seeds. Okay, next slide please. Next slide, sir. Okay, are you hearing me, sir?
Yes, can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear you, can hear you.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. So, identification and control of pests and diseases, integrated pest management, mixed cropping. All right, thank you, sir. Mixed cropping, intercropping. All right, thank you. Yeah, yeah. So, um, sometimes we do underestimate the um we do underestimate the usefulness of some crops, okay? Like I said before the other time, beans is very, very fundamental and good for nitrogen fixation in the soil, right? So when you are intercropping a crop like beans with another crop that is like dependent on nitrogen, okay, it will go a long way. Even though some of these methods, intercropping, mixed cropping, relay crop, and all these things, even if some of them are going into extinction, okay, and it looks like it's not really some people are not really using it again. These things actually work, okay. I do say something that when we mix, we don't totally debunk traditional methods, but we take traditional methods and improve on them. It makes us to go a long way. But if we look at it, that how those old farmers of then used to do their things and all, how the old farmers of then used to do their thing, my God, when a lot of all this, when we anytime we are doing pest, we are treating any pest and diseases. Most times when we are doing it, maybe cassava mosaic virus, this, and now. Most times the sources or the genesis of some of these viruses are even from other countries that crept into Nigeria, that crept into Africa. So it's not like some of these farmers then they were not successful using all those things, but because some of the things that came into Africa it was new to them, it came suddenly, and it took over, a lot of things that we now needed advanced solutions. So it's not like some of the things they were doing then should now be totally debunked. No, they should rather be taken and improved on. Okay, so like I mentioned the other time, crop rotation for soil fertility and pest control, yes, this is very, very fundamental. And for example, I don't want to mention any body, particularly, but if you notice a farm where they farm the same kind of crops, you know consistently and all, it's always so prone to pests and diseases. So crop rotation, as archaic as it sounds, it works. It really, really works. Giving the farm a break, giving the land a break, planting something else. You understand? It works because for everything, when it's too much, it builds resistance. Okay, it builds resistance. So when you give them a break and you break their power and all, before they are coming back again in full, so it will take them time to build. So that's that on that. So quickly, because our time is fast spent, please, next slide, sir. Next slide. Okay, please, sir, the next slide. Oh,
Can you see it now?
okay. All right. Yeah. So, importance of crop production, it ensures food security, for the growing population. Very, very important. That is why I was emphasizing on sustainability. We have a growing population, and food is declining. It's a very bad sign. But that's why platform like this are here, sustainable use, so that some of us that we need to, because the old ones are dying, farmers are dying, and I'm really happy a lot of youths are going into agriculture at this point in time, which is wonderful. But we have to put sustainability in place, okay? So ensures food security, supplies raw materials for agro-based industries, generates employment and supports livelihoods, contributes to the national income and economy. Even though everybody about this crude oil, petrol, see, agriculture is still one of the largest contributor to the Nigerian's economy. Okay, next slide. Next slide, sir, please. Next slide, sir. Okay, so it's one of the, yeah. So it provides further for livestock, foreign exchange through exports, maintains environmental balance. Next slide, please. So like Mr. Ogada mentioned the other time, that how are livestock going to feed if there are no crops? Okay, like there are a lot of people that are even cashing out for making, like, cultivating fodder for livestock alone. That's a business for some people. Some of these things we call with. That was why I had to um clarify the difference between plants and crops. For example, elephant grass can be a plant, a weed, depending on the context. But for somebody cultivating that intentionally, it's a crop. Okay? So roles of crop production, meets basic human needs, food, fiber, and fuel. Yeah. Supports allied agricultural sectors, improves farmers' income, ensures sustainable agricultural practices. SAP. Yes. Good agricultural practices, sustainable agricultural practices. This is very, very important. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. This is very, very, very important. So also crop production, streamlining it to soil health, like I had already mentioned. Soil health and climate, improve soil fertility through crop rotation, maintains soil structure and microbes, develops climate resilient crops, reduces risks of droughts and floods. Some of these synthetic fertilizers, one of the things it does, okay, one of the effects is that it really affects the organic matter in the soil when used in large quantities, and which is rampant in Nigeria. Okay, so we need to encourage things that will improve the life under the soil. It's very important. What's the process of a decaying leaf, a decaying green leaves, dried leaves will do, is different from what NPK that is just poured on the soil will do. These things will decay, maggots, earthworms will feed on it, they go down into the soil, they bore into the soil, they pass out waste like a poop, some of their waste contains some elements that will enter into the soil that will be used by another microbe and attach itself to the roots. There's a lot happening under the soil. It's a life there. So when we come and we just tamper with the activities, just pour this anyhow on the soil, we are really damaging soil health and sustainability as a whole. So it reduces risks of droughts and floods. Yes, where we have these things that work. When crop production is not done properly, these are the things that do happens. I think I don't know if you've seen this desert. They were trying to revitalize a desert, and it worked. I've forgotten the name, the way that documentary, the way the documentary was start. But when I watched it, I was wowed. A desert that was desertified, it was revitalized, and now plants are growing there, crops are growing there. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so in conclusion, crop production is the foundation of agriculture, and like we have said again, it's essential for food security and economic growth, and it covers activities from seed to post-harvest. So when you are looking at, I want to go into farming, I want to go into crop production, you are asking yourself the question, how much do I know? How much do I know? A sustainable world is created by sustainable people who take sustainable actions. Yes, a sustainable world is created by sustainable people, sustainable communities who take sustainable action. So, how intentional are you? You want to farm beans, you want to farm yam, you want to farm capsicum, peppers, tomatoes, you want to go into vegetable production. How intentional are you in building knowledge? In building knowledge. So, like I said, this platform is very, very good. And also, the platform which I created, Home Garden Circle for home garden farmers, this is what I also had in view, that if we have people everywhere at the back of their house, doing something, taking sustainable actions, we will have sustainable communities. Okay, and these are things that we want to be seeing not just in rural area but in urban cities. We want more intentional people, we want intentional men, intentional women into take sustainable actions, sustainable actions. So I hope we've been able to learn one or two, and I hope we'll be able to do more and take more intentional be more intentional in whatever we do. And like I said again, I want that to sink into your mind, that a sustainable world is created by sustainable people, sustainable community who take sustainable actions. Thank you very much.
Please let's give thumbs up for our facilitator for today. Thank you so much, Miss Faith, for enlightening us on crop production and everything that has to do with it. Thank you so much. Remember, our watchword is sustainable world is created by those who practice sustainable agriculture. That is the most important thing. So, for everyone that joined the class this evening, thank you so much. I don't know if anyone has any question, but before your questions, our time is fast spent. Oh. Anyways, you can follow our WhatsApp channel. I've dropped the link on the chat box. Just follow the WhatsApp channel. So the material and even the recordings, access to the recordings and even our previous materials, they will be dropped on the WhatsApp channel. So sometimes I do drop some materials even outside um our classes. There are some materials maybe I see on agriculture that will benefit us. I will also drop it there too. And I and my team will still work on creating a to create more robust sessions that will enlightening us on sustainable agriculture. So in the absence of any other thing, I want to say we should have a good, nice weekend um till next week. So Miss Faith Adebayo, thank you so so much for the class. We really appreciate the class this evening. So do well to join us next week. She is still teaching us next week. She's going to take another topic with respect to crop production next week. So next week, same time, same venue. The link will be shared to the WhatsApp channel. So that is why you should do well to join the WhatsApp channel so that you get the link to that class. So from my end here, I'm saying have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and good night. Good night, everyone.